to our Unstoppable Agents and Investors nationwide. Today is Thursday, February 19th, 2026, and this is All the Leads Mastermind Podcast number 565. I had a couple great stories, success stories, and I had a couple questions this week, and I asked the people to show up. If any of you are here, I don't believe you are yet, go ahead and raise your hand. Otherwise, Tim, what do you got for us? I'll let you open.
Well, I just always find it interesting what goes on in our dialogue before we get started. I've been off kind of for the last couple of weeks. I had a little bit of, got a bug and all that, so I'm just glad to be back, and I'm looking forward to a good day today. Hope we got a lot of good stuff to talk about. We've been talking a good bit internally about, as we said earlier, about new product and the things that we're doing, and having conversations with everybody about it. We're hitting it pretty hard right now, so we'll be excited to talk about that as we go forward. And I'll tell you now, hey, I see Brian Russo. Brian will call on you in a little bit here and be glad to talk with you about your success story. That'd be great. The only thing I was going to add is that several have been asking about the Lazy Agent program, and it's rolling along. We've found, obviously, we threw it out there real quick, and we found some things we needed to revise to make it more streamlined and work better. So we'll be doing that next week and kind of kick it off to a harder launch, and excited for the ones of you who put stuff in, and they've all been getting work. So we're looking forward to good results with that as well. Jimbo, back to you, buddy.
Tim, just in case anybody had the same issue I did, I have a new iPhone 17 Pro Max, and I took a couple pictures and tried to submit them, and it said the data field was too big. It was bigger than 5 megabytes. So all I had to do when I sent myself the picture, I just resent it and requested the smaller size, and it accepted the smaller size. The iPhones are getting so good right now that a lot of the apps out there are not equipped to automatically absorb as much data as they're sending.
Well, the other thing that we're going to do as a result of that, that's one of the changes we're going to make, is to accept any size image, and we'll downsize it before we save it.
Perfect.
So that's one of the things we're working on right now. But go ahead and let's get rolling. You got people that you want to talk to. Brian, do you want to start with Brian?
Yeah, Brian, raise your hand, please, and we'll unmute you.
Already got him there, and already asked him to unmute.
It says muted. Right there we go. Oh.
We're getting there, Jim. Hang on, bud.
All right.
Keep your powder dry. Try again.
Brian, you know sign language, buddy. Brian?
There he is. My fault. Thank you so much, guys. How are you?
Great, Brian. I was just saying, you've been with us 6 years, and you were an overnight success. So congratulations.
Yeah. Well, so it was a little off and on. I joined back in 2020, and there was a gap period, and I came back and really committed. I've hired on some callers, and they've been great. Really dove into the mailbox motivator, and I just got to say I'm very thankful for the momentum that we've recently gained. So my success story, I'll just kind of cut straight to the chase.
Hey Brian, could we ask you to speak up just a little bit or get a little bit closer?
Absolutely. Sorry,
it's a little bit muffled.
And if I need to use another mic, I can do that as well.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We got plenty of time, bud.
All right, no problem. Give me 1 second here. Let me see what's going on. All right. I'm trying to be as quick as possible.
That's okay.
Is it really bad?
No, it's not really bad. It's just a little softer than. I just want to make sure everybody can hear you. That's all.
Okay, no problem. Trying to get in my settings. I'm not the most tech savvy person. Enough to be dangerous, but not great.
Jim can help you.
Yes. You just get real close to the microphone and yell. That's
there it is. There, I like it. I like that a lot. Okay, so let's try that.
That works.
Much better.
Perfect. All right, great. So yeah, first and foremost, I'm very excited to be here. I want to say before I dive get into the story. There are a few names on the call that I want to call out and that I admire. I didn't know that they were part of all the leads. Bill Gross, I see here on the in the mastermind, big fan of his. And I've been working with Darcy and Jim and all the leads for 6 years now. Um, they've been phenomenal, top tier service. The only reason why I have not yet joined a mastermind to date is that I had a mastermind of my own on Thursdays at noon Central Time. So I made the commitment at the first of the year to move that date and commit to all the leads. So I'm very thankful for this opportunity to be here. Um, Next, I just want to say that I got a call from the Mailbox Motivator, and that resulted in 3 transactions. Unfortunately, the deceased, his sister, uh, she was a little bit overwhelmed at first, and then gave me a call. We walked the property with another surviving brother. Built up a really good rapport and shared my marketing strategies as a realtor. And fast forward, she was so impressed that she allowed me to help her surviving brother purchase a property for 775,000. We're selling we just hit the market on Thursday of last week for 700,000. That was attached to the probate. And the brother that just purchased the property, we're going to sell his current condo. So that's 3 transactions off of 1 contact.
It's awesome. And I think I heard you're going to make about $50,000 between the three. Is that right?
Oh, wow. So at least that, probably 50K on that one. I think my business has really blown up. And so got, I really want to expand into the late mortgage aspect of all the leads. So right now I'm going back and listening to old podcasts. Any helpful hints that you guys could share will be great. I was on the fence going, back and forth between divorce and late mortgage, which will be the next step to invest in, but I'm really open at this point.
Well, that's great. And I understand somebody else on the call has been making the calls for you. You've had Matt there making your phone calls.
Doing a great job. Yeah, exactly.
Good. So
Thanks,
you're just
Brian.
you're gonna prepay now for him to make the calls for the next two years, right? With
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
That's great. Coaches, partners, any comment on with that kind of, and thank you, Brian. We really appreciate it. And I was kidding, obviously, about the overnight success, but I mean, it's not the first deals you've done, but just all of a sudden, it's kind of reached the critical mass where it seems to be exploding. Any comments from the coaches and partners, given Brian's situation? If you had to choose one, would you do divorce or late mortgage in his county?
I got a comment.
Sure.
So first and foremost, I think it's really important too to kind of bring up the fact it's not generally one strategy that's going to work when you're doing this. It's always it's so funny because I actually had somebody the other day told me we called and they're like, "Oh, I got a letter from you." And that's a part of our script. Like even if letters get sent, we still are like, "Oh, I think we may have sent you a letter." And they're like, "Oh, okay." Well, this person's like, "Oh, I got a letter from that person. I remember the name." They couldn't remember how they put it together. And so it's not always one or the other. In some cases, it's the sum of all of its parts. I'm trying to like find the best word to put it together, but it's having everything just sort of merged together between calling, between mailing, and even in doing like Facebook retargeting or things like that, or door knocking. I mean, I had a conversation with somebody earlier this week, and they said, I'm not really where I want to be. I'm like, well, have you thought about knocking on doors? They're like, I haven't done that, but that works too. So. As far as what I would say between divorce and late mortgage, we've had a lot of success with late mortgage. Late mortgage has been really great. And, the biggest thing with late mortgage, you just have to remember that they're going to want to work something out with their lender first. That's usually how it always goes. So you have to know that going in. But as long as you have that conversation with them that, hey, that may not be an option, here's another solution, that really makes a world of difference in the overall conversion.
Perfect. And Bill, I know you've had tremendous success with divorce. Would you have a different opinion, or what would you tell as a coach? What would you tell Brian?
Uh, you, I find that I find with divorce, it's somewhat similar to probate, other than the first few seconds or minute of the conversation with them, because you really can't bring up divorce. I brought it up in some letters and that didn't go over so well, but they remember the letters. Um, so I definitely think the letters do create make you stand out more, but I think it's the consistency of the calls, the phone calls, and the follow-up that really seems to appear with divorce. And again, with divorce, there's a couple of different categories, and I think they're a little more extreme than probate. Sometimes it's very volatile, sometimes it's EV, it's okay. Other times they've just went to dinner and decided they were not happy and they should get a divorce, and it's totally amicable.
I remember COVID, there were a lot of divorces because people realized they didn't really like each other, spending that much time together.
And baby boom.
Yeah, we heard that.
The baby boom.
Yeah, we heard that quite a bit.
The thing, Jim, hang on a second. The only thing I was going to ask, and this is to Matt as well. I wonder if in that conversation where, if you're dealing with late mortgage, that, and that's a good point, that they're definitely going to, or either already are, or they're going to try and work it out with their existing mortgage, stay where they are, do what they can. That's their first place to contact, or they're hiding and they don't want to talk to anybody. And those are also possibilities and likely as well, because they're not going to try and get with their mortgage broker if they know they don't have the money to do it anyway, and they don't know what's there. So I guess all I was getting at is, it would seem to me that in those circumstances, in that call, it might be good to talk about, well, that's great, and I encourage you to do that. Certainly, that's the first place you ought to look. If that doesn't work out, here are the options. And what options are you looking at now? Because they're looking at them as well. Another place to take that discussion. And you may find that they're looking to rent. They may not know that, there are lots of different options that are out there. And if you've got a bunch of things to talk to them about, you try to just put yourself in a position where you're the expert. You're the person that they need to talk to. And I'm sure, Matt, I'll just ask you to comment on that.
Yeah, I mean, so I partnered up with someone that actually does like mortgage modifications, and I've learned a lot from it. It's really interesting. One of the biggest things is that there's so many other options and paths to cash for these folks, for where you can do like something called a dignified conveyance, where they can walk away from the property and still get money from the bank, because the bank still owes, like, because they'll get money that's left over. And they owe them, like, I don't know how the ins and outs of that part works, but there's a lot of things that can be done on the modification side of it. I think the biggest thing, though, and the most important thing, is making sure that these guys realize, when you're making these calls, they generally want to save their house first. But as long as you go into it saying, hey, I understand that's the case, you ask them a series of questions. One, if they're on fixed income and there was a problem, it's very highly unlikely they're going to be able to save their home. The other one is that you have to do a modification, there needs to be a documented hardship, something that you can show, hey, I fell ill, but now I'm back to work full time. So there's so many different loopholes they put in there. And the lender they don't want to work anything out, because most of the time these guys have so much equity in their house already. So I mean, what we found with late mortgage is we just come in and we say, hey, we're going to present you with multiple options. Sometimes they say, yeah, I'm open to all things. If they say they're open, that's when that's when we transfer over the lead. If they say something along the lines of, oh, I'm never selling, I'm not doing anything, I'm not going anywhere, then yeah, it's probably more of a questionable one. We probably won't send. But we try to make sure that these people are at least open to a conversation, so that you're not meeting them with hostility.
Yeah,
And I love the dignified conveyance. We used to call it deed in lieu of foreclosure, but
Yeah.
it's very similar.
Yep.
Tim, did I interrupt you? You had a comment?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I wonder if, in those circumstances where they're, trying to do all of that. I think the thing that I was trying to get across is if you're making those calls, if you're doing that sort of stuff, following up on a letter, and you do hear, well, that I'm going to talk to your lender, that's great. Well, I'll get back to you when you do that. Well, you've given up on that one, and that's what happens too often. And that's kind of the point, is that that's not a showstopper for you. And that's kind of the whole point, is that's great. When are you going to do that? Matt, when are you going to contact your lender? Because,
Yeah.
I want to be part of your process here. I can help you. Are you going to talk to them on Tuesday? When are you going to talk to them? Because the lender will take their call anytime, right?
Oh yeah.
So
Well,
when are you going to talk to them and make an appointment right then to call them back after that happens, and,
Yeah.
and stay in charge of that process? And that's all I'm saying, is there's an opportunity to hold on to that conversation.
And
And
Brian, if of course, as the owner, one of the owners of the company, I would say, divorce or late mortgage, try them both. But seriously, if you're already doing probate, you probably have the patience for divorce. Divorce can take a bit longer, like probate. It might be a little more balanced to go with the late mortgage first, because now you've got a category that's probably going to produce quicker results. Most of the people don't have 3 to 6 months to a year if they're late in their mortgage. They're going to have to do something pretty quickly. Go ahead, Brian. Comment? Brian raised his hand again.
you should be able to unmute now, I think.
Trying to find him.
There he goes.
There we go. Thank you.
Okay, there you go.
All right, no, that's great information. So, I agree that late mortgage might be lower hanging fruit. There's in my county, I believe there's about 450, nearly 500.
Wow.
And as far as divorce is concerned, that might be closer to 180 or 190. It was explained to me that with divorce, about 60 to 70% of the divorce files have like real estate attached to them. And that's just a rough number. We don't know. But so obviously with late mortgage, there's a 100% ratio. As you guys said, and this is kind of where I'm just racking my brain a little bit. Uh, as you guys said, they might work something out with their lender. My thought process is, if the home was purchased in 2020 or even in, I don't know, 2018, the rates were much lower than they are today. And what incentive does the mortgage company actually have to work out an arrangement with them? So I want to get ahead of that and attempt to get as many sales as possible, and of course help them find something more suitable.
And Brian, if I could just comment, as most of you know, my wife and I back in 2008 started a short sale company. She's done about 2,000 short sales over the last 15, 16 years. And one thing that I have learned is, don't assume that the banks are logical. It's the decision they're making probably has very little to do with logic. It has more to do with not having the systems or the processes in place to handle what's going on, or maybe one branch not knowing what the other is doing. And I'm not saying you're wrong that they don't have an incentive, but probably more than that, they're just so disorganized. I mean, today my wife still does short sales, but they don't have a department. So it takes almost as long now to do one as it did back when there were tens of thousands of them. So it's the same thing with the loan modification. They are, by federal law, especially if it's a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac mortgage, they're mandated to offer a modification. But that doesn't mean they know what they're doing, or that they're equipped to process it, or they really want to do it. They throw it out there, they offered it to you, then they don't give you much help in getting it done. I see Bill shaking his head. Bill, you would agree?
I agree. If it's Fannie Freddie, they have to have that offer of loan modification on file before they can do anything. So it's a very tight thing. But Brian, so what state are you in, may I ask?
And of course, so I'm in Texas,
Okay.
located in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I live in Collin County. My secondary question is, should I just expand probate into all of Dallas County, or most of the Metroplex? There are about 3 or 4 counties that I could tap into. My thought is to really diversify from another source. That's my first instinct.
Well, I think either one you're not wrong with. The problem with late pay in California is the lenders are scared of the state of California and they give them opportunity after opportunity. But if you maintain that contact, sooner or later they're going to be so far down that they have to sell. So that's how California works.
I'm actually
I,
in Texas.
right, right. I'm just saying that.
Oh,
But in Texas, the foreclosure laws are definitely more for the lender than it is for the individual, we'll call it. I also find that your marketing flows really well into divorce with probate. That's what I have found, and it's been pretty successful. So I don't think there's a wrong answer for you. I would be more curious. The answer is what is the best um, marketing or new marketing avenue for your time? And I'm talking the car, right? Because you have to go to these listing appointments. I I used to really love San Francisco, and I still market it, but I really, if it's not a sweetheart deal, I don't want it there because it's so much, takes me 45 minutes to an hour to get there. So I think you really got to think about your time as you're expanding, right? Then the other lesson I learned was Marin County was like 30 divorces consistently, and then all of a sudden come November, it was 80, 90, 100. Then I added Sonoma on, and that was 180 divorces. And I'm still trying to catch up. So you got to kind of really work with your rep at ATL and kind of really look at those numbers, which I did not do. And I've been around for over 10 years. It's kind of stupid of me, but I didn't. I just jumped in and like, what the hell? And I'm still buried.
that's a
So,
good problem to have.
Brian, what county? I'm sorry, but I didn't understand. What county did you say you're in now?
Yes, I'm in Collin County, Texas.
Got it. Got it. So, is that Fort Worth?
That's Plano, Frisco, Allen, McKinney,
Got it.
just north
Got
of
it.
Dallas.
Yeah.
So you're kind of basically asking, should you expand and cover the whole metroplex, right?
Yeah, there are about 3 counties.
Right.
Um,
So, I mean, I think that and Bill made a really good point there. I mean, there's a ton of opportunity and there's a ton of leads in all of that. I think the real question is, what are you where do you feel the sweet spot is in terms of the types of properties that you want to work? How are you doing them? All that. I mean, look at it as a, blank piece of paper. If you, look at the map and say, this is where I really want to pull it from, and what's my contact ratio going to look like if I get a whole bunch of them that are, you know, North Dallas, South Dallas, whatever, you're going to be able to get there, like Bill said, the timing issues. And I know your traffic's a bear. So, that's the only real issue. Now, there are other aspects of that, which are there's a lot of this that you can do in terms of sorting it out before you get to it and have to go see it. So if you want to, process volume and, establish a good methodology for doing that, go where the most leads are. So those are the kind of things that you need to talk about. And I think maybe it'd be good to kind of work through that, work through budget and all that, and kind of talk through it with your rep, and let's figure out a good way to do this, considering all of the costs that go into it, and put a program together that makes sense for all of it for you.
Exactly.
Ask a question.
Please.
Okay,
Yep.
so great. Thank you guys. There was a mention of door knocking, and I love to door knock. When I have a new listing, I'm knocking on 250 doors. I'm covering the whole neighborhood. When I have an open house, at least 100, right? So I love knocking on doors. Um, how would I leverage door knocking in probate versus divorce versus late mortgage?
Well, you could knock on the door and say, anybody in here getting divorced?
Yeah.
Hi, Brian. Obviously, with the probate, you're going to want to do it where where it's owner occupied, where the executors are local.
Yeah, right.
Sure. And the nice thing with the late mortgage is they're going to be local, probably most of the time they're going to be living in there. And it just seems to me, Bill, you may feel differently. It'd be pretty awkward to knock on the door of a divorce. I think.
Well,
Like,
well, I think it's perfect for Tim, but I'm not doing it.
good point.
Yeah.
For your average person with emotions and human emotions, it's probably not too good.
I've been trying to get the time to go door knock because there's another one that Bruce had coached to do, and I think it's a really good idea. I think that if you just bring a cloud CMA or a CMA with you, nothing you're spending a ton of time with, and put your card on there and drop that off and say, I specialize in assisting executors to get the maximum value out of their estate. Something that shows them that you understand what their job is, right? Because every executor is supposed to have a fiduciary responsibility to get the maximum value out of the estate, right? That's a rule, period. So I just think something like that would be really good. I wouldn't do a net sheet. But if you meet them, offer the net sheet as a further thing. I think in divorce and probate, maybe the coaches have a different thing, but I've noticed that when you give them a CMA and a net sheet, their lights kind of go on, especially in the divorce. I've noticed that big time.
Do you,
I
Brian,
wanted
do
to
you carry
throw-
door hangers with you?
Okay.
Do you carry door hangers with you when you go?
Me, I carry flyers and I'll just roll them and slide them in the door handle.
So, and that's fine. I mean, that'll work in a lot of cases. Some cases, you might need something to hang. The only thing I was going to say is that it's often a good thing to do to, everybody who's going door to door doing anything ought to be carrying something with them as a good leave behind to do that. And too often, it's like the same thing we said before. People knock on the door, nobody there, they just walk to the next house. That's really not making good use of your time. Make sure that you've got something to leave behind, even if they don't talk to you. And door hangers, you can do a pretty good job with that. That talks about I'm working your neighborhood today, and people are interested in today. You can get the timeliness of that going pretty well. And you look very professional doing that. So if you're interested in doing some door hangers, that's something you might want to suggest, or we might suggest to you. Same thing for everybody else here. Don't go door to door with nothing to leave behind. We haven't talked about that before, but you should be carrying them with you all the time, just like business cards.
I had something, Brian, too. So this was a company that my business partner, this was, I mean, over 20 years ago, it created this company called FIIF Delivery Services. Basically, what it was, they didn't deliver anything. He would have net sheets. It would be like the front page of the MLS on an expired. He called it the thrashed MLS sheet. But what he would do is he would go in. He had these. They were literally the size of like Post-it notes. So they'd be like a Post-it, and it would say FIIF Delivery Services, and then it would have like an area that said, "Hey, first attempt, tried to send you a package." He'd put it on basically put it on like their door. And so these guys there was a number that they'd call, was an 800 number, and this number was trackable. They would then put in the code that was on this piece of paper, and it was like a 4 or 5 digit code, something real easy. It would automatically capture their phone number, and it would capture who it is and where it came from. So it was a way to actually get their data, and then we would know that, oh, they're receptive to us going to the door, and then we'd do the same thing over again, and hopefully catch them. But by the time they called, we'd get the right phone number, we had all the information. This was before we were ever even able to get data. Now, of course, we're able to get data, which is amazing. But I mean, it worked really well. And maybe even recreating something like that, where like a delivery service, like, hey, try to deliver a package to you. You'd be amazed as to how many people, just out of curiosity, they're going to call the number and be like, well, what were they trying to give to me? That it worked very, very well. We probably got out of like 40 or 50 doors that we would knock. We would usually convert about 35 to 40% of them would call back.
Hey, Matt, we had a guy actually, oh gosh, it was probably 10 years ago, did something very similar, probably even before the advent of Amazon, but he had UPS was the big deliverer there. What can Brown do for you?
Yep.
And they had these Brown delivery stickers when you missed a delivery. They
Yep.
would just stick it on your door. he had stickers printed that looked identical that said, "Sorry, we missed you. Please give me a call." And people, it's the same thing. People would think they missed a package. They'd
It was
call.
it was the UVS or something. They just changed one of the letters around, same logos and everything. That's yeah. I
I
could
don't
see
think they
somebody
put anything on there. It just basically said, "Hey, sorry, we missed you. Give us a call." But
That's awesome.
people took them to be UPS, so they thought same thing, very
Yeah.
similar. Yeah, interesting.
So I would
Um,
say that if you if you are a buyer or have access to buyers, doing that, and then maybe leaving a message on the dial back that says, "Hey, sorry we missed you. We stuck this on your door because I'm a realtor in the area or a real estate investor in the area, and I have a buyer that's looking for a property in your neighborhood. If you've ever considered selling, would you leave me a message?" And now you're you don't even have to necessarily call the person back. They raise their hand. They go, "Yeah, I'm thinking about selling." They leave a message, you call them back, you've got a hot lead that just called you, and all you did was had to let it go to voicemail.
excellent.
Good.
Thank you, Brian.
Um,
Anything else we can help you with?
Just one last thing, and I feel like I'm monopolizing this thing, but I'll be really quick.
Okay.
Uh, I'm a big fan of internet retargeting. I do that. I pay for another large, I'm not going to use a company name, but another large portal that home buyers and sellers use for values and stuff like that. And they have a home an internet retargeting arm. I spoke with Darcy yesterday, and she educated me that we have the ability to um, capture some of the data, put it on a CSV file, and that I can upload that into my platform that I'm showcased on. But I didn't know that all the leads also had internet retargeting, and I want to figure out how to get in on that.
That would be you, Matthew, please.
Yeah, Brian, we'll talk after the call. I do that. So that's something that we also offer. So yeah, we could definitely talk on that for sure.
Great.
Hey, Tim, I don't know if you saw my comment. We're on a roll with success stories, but it might be a good time to have Bill interview Joffrey. Joffrey, when you came on the call, Bill was just bragging about you. So let's see if it's true. If anybody else has anything else they want to cover, please raise your hand. But Bill, why were you bragging so much on Joffrey? What is he doing? And Joffrey's really new with us. But what is he doing that's right or that's working so well?
Well, I had two coaching calls with him and then a couple of follow-up calls. So one is he kind of created his own branding, his own style with it. He created his own videos. That was really good. But the other part is, I would say absolutely, is because he has empathy for the other side. It just comes off so natural. It's very impressive. You can tell that this guy just cares, right? And you can, the minute he gets on the phone, and that's a really rare quality. And the other thing is he just sticks his head down and does it. And I haven't talked to him in a couple of weeks, but I'm very, 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 very impressed with him. And I gotta say that's the reason why I coach is for those winning stories. Because believe it or not, we coaches don't get paid here. We're just here to help other people.
And Jeffrey, you want to give your acceptance speech like you just won the
Well,
Oscar? What do you think?
there's always a nugget that Bill shares with me that I like. I start to just add, and I think a lot of that just has to do with we don't know what we don't know, and we're not going to try what we haven't thought of before. This is why, like, this idea of by your own bootstraps, sure, but there's a lot of mentors along the way that say, "Hey, do it this way," or "Don't do it that way," and like I, it's hilarious, but I only gave people cards at a closing table. I never sent people cards just in general, and I would never have even started that without Bill. And I've sent probably 50 or so, and I'm starting to like generate all this like name recognition at a particular place. And then the other thing he said this last call was ask for the owner's name of a restaurant and then send a card to the owner. I mean, it's not hard to find a guy's address, right? And you can always just send it to the restaurant too. But like, when's the last time somebody sent a restaurant owner a card? Hey, this was a great meal. Restaurant guys know everybody because they love to party. It's like, hello, these guys are like the social glue that actually build out neighborhoods because it's like the watering hole and it's, and they have the hardest job on earth. They're getting no, they're getting no thanks typically aside from the meal itself. So it's like, I sent a card a couple times and I'm getting handwritten cards back. It's like I'm getting pen pals now at this point. It's like, and you know what? What a joy. First of all, I've learned that I have to work on my penmanship in comparison to some of these people. That's number one. But aside from that, I it's pretty helpful to have these probate leads because the leads turn in the listings, and then the listings are turning in. So I just signed a buyer's rep agreement yesterday from a probate listing that I have on market. That's just a profound. That's always one of those like success stories, right? Like when deals turn into deals because it's hard to have forward moving momentum without brand exposure and just listing inventory in general. And once you get that forward moving momentum, it's just more fun to get on the phone, you know.
That's great. Two things or one thing that hits me that you said right off the bat is, and we've talked about this before, when we had the idea of peer coaches, I honestly didn't think it'd be that easy to attract good people because, believe it or not, we don't pay these guys. They do show up, and the quality of the coaching you get is better than anywhere else that I've been, and you're not paying anything for it. So please, I mean, take advantage of it. It's crazy not to. As a subscriber, you're entitled to to at least one coaching call a month, and so few of our people do it, and a lot of people do it once, and then they don't come back again. And there was something.
Tell them how to book it.
Yeah, that's important.
Tim, how do they book it?
Oh, I want you to tell them, Jim.
I have no idea. Tell them how to book it,
He
please.
said for you to do it. That's what I
Look at
heard.
Denno.
Yeah, excuse me. We have I'm going to have to go look it up as well. That's why I was hoping you'd answer.
Bill, how do they book a call with you?
So
Aline, please save us.
I'm serious. Maybe that is the issue. Maybe it's a glitch in terms of how
Yeah,
to book
so-
it, and that it's a stumbling block. I know we have the Calendly. Yeah.
So it's in the left corner of your portal. It says coaching, training. Maybe that it really is the problem. I was telling Toby about that. So I definitely think we need to feature that because both Eileen and I, as much as we give to you, you give to us every time. And I knew about Kush, but I forgot about Kush, right? And I've learned some great upfront cushions like this might not be applicable to you and this might not be relevant to you. That has really helped my callings. What I'm trying to say is the coaches get as much as the students do.
Right. And one other thank you. And one other thing you said, Joffrey, that really struck me is how much you appreciate the support and the coaching and everything you get. Just a little while ago, someone texted a question: what's the difference between you guys and, they mentioned another 3-letter company that provides data? As good as the coaches are, if I could brag a little bit about the company, it's the support you get with the leads. Anybody can give you data. We decided right up in the beginning, if you just give people leads and you don't make sure they're successful with them, they're going to go away. And we're not looking to sell 1 million realtors once. We're looking to sell thousands of realtors and keep them for life. So the support, the coaches, the support, the technology, we've got,
The quality of the data. Come on.
And the quality of the quality of the data is good because of the people we have. So, but thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. So anyway, that they answered two questions in one comment. And we appreciate everything you said. Steve, you wanted to add something, and Kenneth?
Sure. What I wanted to say is a lot of times too with folks who say, hey, I can set you up for a coaching call right now. What I'll do is I'll send you an invite via Calendly, normally around the same time and date the next month. And then I said, look, if you accept it, because when I send it to you, it's tentative. But if you accept it, then I'll confirm it. So then that way it keeps them from actually going in and having to do it, because some folks will, some folks won't. Okay, but the other thing too, I'm glad you said this too, Jim, is I coached a guy earlier in the month, and I noticed that he signed up, and of course it may have been an error with going in and using the portal, but he signed up for a call today and tomorrow. And I saw it last week. I was like, hey, we spoke earlier in the month. Reschedule for March, can you please cancel? And he didn't, which is okay. When today rolled around, I saw it was still in there. I was like, okay, so I canceled it. I said, look, and I'll send him an invite for next month, just saying, hey, here's a time when we met. Is this going to work for you? And if not, just let me know. Oftentimes, too, there are folks that I have scheduled with, and I'll call them, and they're at a listing. They're there. I was like, oh, it's okay. Or worse yet, you call, you leave. I make 3 attempts, and if I don't reach them, okay, their schedule changed. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, but they're a no-show, okay, because Calendly allows for that. And I'll leave a message. At that point, I'll say, hey, please go into the portal and reschedule. Because if they're not there and I haven't had a conversation, I haven't got their permission to go ahead and schedule, then maybe it's something they need to do, right? And yeah, it's still my time too. All right, which, okay, if you're telling me you don't need me or you're not here, well, that's just 20 minutes I bought back in my time. I'm a happy guy.
There you go. So it's a monthly coaching call, not a daily, just in case anybody was confused. For free, you don't get daily. Kenneth, you want to unmute yourself, or you got your hand raised? You good?
Yes, hi. Kenny Weir, Ocala, Florida. I just moved down from New York. I was on Long Island, and I was with MTI. I put it in chat, but nobody, I guess, noticed the question. But anyway, it was the time of going to Nassau County Courthouse and spending hours there. And, I did a little bit, but I was like, I get, dissatisfied with it. So I came down here and I joined them because really they're the only ones I knew of that did this kind of thing. But then I saw, all the leads, and I was wondering how, do you guys have a website? Because I have a domain name I use. Do you have a website I can do? Yes.
Yes, of course. You mean to create a website for you? Is that what you said?
Well, yeah, because I have a domain name.
Sure. Yes,
So I can-
absolutely. It's one of the credibility websites are one of the things that we definitely provide and hardly recommend because it gives you the right landing place to send all your traffic. So yes,
Okay.
definitely help you with that. And I'm going to go back to hit a little harder on what Bill said because I think Jim kind of underplayed it a little bit. I think one of the biggest differences between us and really any of our competitors, and we work real hard to do it, is the quality of our information. We really spend an inordinate amount of time, money, energy, and staffing time making sure that the data we give you is the best you can get. And I think that has a whole lot to do with it. We try not to waste your time. And I think that's a key element to remember is that, and I'm not suggesting that other people don't do it well or anything else. I'll just tell you that we do it really well. And most people that have used other people and experienced the rest of it, and Bill's a great example of that, comparing apples to apples, we make better apples.
Mhm.
So I think that's an important thing to realize. And if you'd like, Ken, we'll have somebody reach out to you after the call and get you squared away.
Sure. Call me Kenny.
I'm sorry,
Kenny.
Kenny? All right.
Yeah, much better.
You ought to
Is
change
it-
your name on the Zoom
I
there.
know, well, that's why I introduced myself as Kenny. But anyway,
Okay.
anybody using virtual assistants or AI?
Are we using it?
No, people that use your company when they get their leads
Using AI to do what with them?
to call.
Oh, you mean outbound dialing?
Yeah, well, AI, what you do is, you throw in, it's like that you throw into a funnel and they have conversations. It's amazing. I mean, you don't have to do anything till you see that they're interested and then you call.
That's a fast way to go to jail, Kenny, just so you know. I would not recommend doing that. And yes, I'm going to have
Damn.
very, very biased answer to that, but that's really, really regulated. So unless they've opted in to get a phone call, don't have AI call. If you got warm leads, it's one thing, but I run the virtual assistant side of things. I'd be happy to talk with you about that part of it. I'm biased, but I know for a fact, and I've tried it myself. I've tested a lot of these different AI calling services. Not that they're not, I mean, there's some good ones, but I mean, you got to be really, really careful making sure these people are opting in saying, yes, it's okay for me to be called by an AI system. I know somebody got sued for over $500,000 for that. So, yeah, it could end business real fast.
Well, I
And
just,
Kenny,
a guy
go ahead.
that I know of in my company, he uses AI and he does expireds, and there's probably, there's a couple of thousand a month. And he says in 8 years, he got reported once for a do not call. So I don't know how much, these people are really bothering over it. I mean, I wouldn't want to take a chance if that's the
Kenny,
story.
just to answer your question though, we do have one subscriber, Travis Wade's been with us for about 6 years. That's how I got introduced to AI. He said, I'm going to have my assistant call you. I had a 5-minute conversation, thought nice guy, had no idea it was AI,
Yeah.
but he only uses it for lead follow-up on people that have opted in.
Oh, follow up. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't use it to make the initial call.
Right.
Mhm.
And that's the key element and that's what Matt's saying. If you want to use it for a lot of other things, that's great. But that initial outbound doing that, unless, let's put it this way, there are ways that you can do it that would potentially make it less likely that you're going to get in trouble, but we're not going to recommend them to you. And you've got to have some pretty significant tech chops to be able to do that well. And it involves changing phone numbers a lot of time, and you're spending a lot of time chasing your tail doing stuff that's not going to really pay off big for you rather than trying to, beat the system real well. Let's do it the right way and maybe help you find the right way to get at it well. Matt can help you, we can help you, and we'll get you squared away.
Well, I used to go to the courthouse. That's a lot of time.
That's a lot of
And
time at the courthouse, that's for sure.
Kenny, I know you haven't been on prior calls. Instead of artificial intelligence, we have Matthew here. He's real intelligence. We do have a partner that'll actually make the live calls for you initially.
Mhm.
So, and he'll call every lead up to 10 times until he gets a hold of them.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to make the calls, you might want to consider a live
I was
person.
just wondering, I don't know how many there would be where I am, Ocala, Florida, so.
Probably more than you think. We'll have somebody, you're in our system, Kenny. Have you filled out a form in our
Yeah,
system?
I've already checked, Jim. I got it all squared away, bud.
Okay, good. Yeah, we'll call you right after the call. We'll get you set
Okay.
up.
And then Kenny, there's a section Bruce teaches it where it's online training in probate. I would highly recommend taking that class. Highly recommend it.
Double highly.
All right. Good call today, Tim. Anything else you want to mention, cover? Anybody else have anything they want to share? Questions? Raise your hand.
Just so that everybody understands how to do that, you see people raising their hands. Some of you might be relatively new to the tool. Click on the little heart at the bottom of the screen and click on raise your hand. And that's how we would see you. There you go. Lots of them. See how easy that is? Joe, what's up, man? Got to unmute, Bubba. There you
Okay,
go.
quick question. Did I hear you guys right at the beginning of the did I hear you right at the beginning of the call? You were talking about something new you're doing for the lazy agent or something. What was that?
Yes, that's correct. I'll take your question real quick, but we're going to talk some more about it, not on this call, but we've got a program called Lazy Agent. We've worked out a program with a group of people who are more than willing to really chase uh, uh, distressed property. In other words, as you're riding around, it kind of go back to sort of where we started. When you're riding around door knocking or anything else that you're doing, and you drive by a property that looks like, the grass hadn't been cut in a while and papers are piled up in the driveway and all of that, oftentimes, most agents just keep on driving because that's not something that they're going to likely chase. An investor, that might be something they're going to jump on pretty quickly, and that's what this group is. And we've created a program where you can literally hop out of your car, take a couple of pictures, fill out the form in about 10 seconds, and it'll send it off to them and they'll begin working that. And if they're able to get it, there's a commission structure and all the rest of it around it. I don't want to go into a lot of it now because we're going to relaunch it. And if you'll just make sure that you're on the calls, we'll announce it again. It probably will be next week, but week after next, we'll come out with more info on it for you. Okay?
Okay.
And
Thank
Bill,
you.
in the meantime, you can alltheleads.com/lazy agent. You can check it out. It's already on our website.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Mr. Bill, unmute yourself, buddy.
Hello.
Hey.
Just curious, are you going to give a thought down the road to discussing the new FinCEN requirement effective March 1st?
I'm sorry, but I really didn't understand what you said, bud.
Financial Crime Network, which is a government organization, effective March 1st, there's a reporting requirement on behalf of the title companies. Basically, if you purchase the property as the buyer in a trust, LLC, partnership, or cash, there's new reporting requirements.
Is that the anti-funds laundering law that
Yes.
came out of complete?
It all deals
Yeah.
with money laundering.
I have to tell you, my wife and I have 6 corporations. We spent $3,000 to have an attorney do that and stay in compliance. As soon as we got all the paperwork filed, they said, "Oh, never mind. We don't require it anymore." I think they extended the deadline by a year. But that's, I don't, and Bill, Tim, correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's something you really need to talk to your accountant. Your accountant should know. It's basically just verifying, since the owner of the trust is hidden, it's verifying for the record who the owner is to keep you from laundering money.
But right now,
what's that?
It's going to be a mandatory requirement on top of the.
Yeah, it was
title.
supposed to be last year. I guess they kicked it down the road. But I would think your accountant or your attorney could handle that. I don't think that's something we're.
Oh, right. I think right now the concern is when you listen to some of the title companies, it's going to be the cost factor that's
Sure.
going to be involved with it.
Sure, it might add a few $100s to the. Like I said, we were charged $500, which was outrageous because it was just filling out 2 papers. It was really kind of silly to pay that much.
One of the concerns I've got is approaching not only the folks that are behind in their monthly payment, but those that are the divorce leads or probate. If I buy the property, generally I try to buy the properties with my Roth IRA. So it's going to be, each individual occurrence is going to be $500 to $700 additional.
Again, my understanding, it just had to be filed once a year annually per corporation. I don't think it has to be done on each transaction. I think you might be misreading that.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'll send you a copy of some of the documents I've got.
Okay.
Yeah, Bill,
sure.
I was going to ask that you do that. Send it to support@alltheleads.com. I'd like to get more info on this because
Okay, I'll be more than glad to do it.
I'm sorry?
I'll be more than glad to do it.
Yeah, I mean, we learn a lot on these calls as well. Like how to book a coaching call is always important to learn. But I appreciate that, and we'll be happy to take a look at it and see if there's fresher information we can help you with. I appreciate the question. Paul, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you guys for this. This is to Kenny also regarding the call. I'm not sure if Florida is as litigious as California, where I'm at, but over here you really have to be careful. And there is a new law that came out where they now have upped the amount you can get sued for just for a few infraction of that, and each infraction can add another tons of $1,000 for each infraction. So yes, it was like that in the past. You could just dial and things and get around it, but I would not recommend. What I would recommend is talk to Matt. I've used him sometimes for some leads that were getting stale, and within hours of him getting started, I had the first appointment. So I can recommend Matt's service.
Perfect.
Thank you.
And just to add to that, if you have stale leads that you haven't disqualified, we can refresh them for you also. We can refresh them and send them to Matt. And refreshing is we'll just run all your leads through 2 filters and tell you which ones still have real estate that hasn't been sold. So you're not sending him, stale leads they're no longer viable. So, but thank you. Appreciate the testimonial. Tim, anything?
No, I think, we're at the top of the hour unless anybody else has anything else. This has been a great call, great information shared back and forth. Happy to, I'll stay away another couple of weeks, maybe be another good call. No, I appreciate it. I appreciate the day and thank everybody for being here and for, being so giving to all of that. Somebody just, Ann just uploaded some info really quickly. FinCEN is the new law about money laundering and cash buyers. Docs and payments is only once at the time of purchase. And I think that's the thing that you were talking about. And so, but we're going to take a look at it and try to get back. The one thing that we don't do is we don't give you legal or accounting advice. We're real careful not to do that on this call because that's really not our function. It's always too many local things and your own condition issues to deal with there. But appreciate that. And like I said, we're at the top of the hour. If anybody has anything else, raise your hand. Otherwise, we're going to call it a day. Jimmy, do it to it, buddy.
All right. Another great call. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. I need a couple minutes to thank everybody who participated. And that is Matt, Tim, Bill, Steve, Brian, Bruce, Joffrey, Aline, Kenneth, Joe, Bill, and Powell. Thank you for actively participating in the call. And I want to challenge each of you. A lot of good ideas. Just take one idea that inspired you today, go out and put it into practice, and please come back next week and share your results with the group. Have a great week, everybody. Talk to you same time next Thursday.